You want freedom. God says, show me your honesty, show me your discipline, show me your alignment, because God doesn't just hear your words. He watches how you move. Where does the shadow form? The shadow forms in silence. It forms in silence, not in screams, but in quiet moments when a child learns to hide parts of themselves to survive. It is born in glances, it's born in shame, it's born in be a good boy or act like a lady. The shadow is not evil, just exiled. Not destroyed, just forgotten. But it never really leaves. It waits in the dark for you to remember later on in life. Before we go deeper into shadow work, we need to understand how our shadow shows up in our everyday lives. Because honestly, a lot of us are carrying things we don't even realize we're carrying. I feel like the way I see it is like a invisible backpack of trauma that we carry throughout life, and it's unremovable unless you go through that backpack and open it up and just like dig in that trauma and get down to the bottom of it. That's how I see it in my mind. It shows up in self-sabotage. It shows up in repeating the same patterns in different relationships or friendships. It's in deflection, projection, or overreacting. It's in perfectionism, in people-pleasing. It shows up in emotional numbness, or emotional intensity that feels too much. Because it feels so normal, most of us don't even really pay attention to it. We think we just navigating life, going through everyday life, normally, dealing with ain't shit ass people, just in general, fucked up situations, just in general. Somebody texted me. Really, we are navigating our trauma. Shadow becomes second nature when it's all you ever known. It's what you watch growing up, what your parents did, what generations survived, and now you're the one waking up, breaking curses, and that can feel so lonely sometimes. Very lonely, trust and believe, because I definitely do be having lonely moments. Because the truth is, when you start to heal, people will call your boundaries disrespect. They'll call your distance disloyalty. They'll call your growth betrayal. They will try to nitpick every fucking little thing you do that is in alignment with you growing. For me, one of my biggest shadow traits has been self-sabotage. I didn't believe I was deserving. I didn't think I can become more than what I already was. I stayed on defense, which is like me living in survival mode. Always waiting for the worst thing to happen. Always waiting for the bad thing to happen. Always waiting for somebody to tear me down or pick me apart. Always bracing for a heartbreak, disappointment, disaster. Because that felt safer than believing I can get more. Believing that I'm deserving. It's what I've experienced like through childhood. It's always what I expected through childhood. Like when I was younger, we were homeless a lot. So I always was expecting things to go back to like when we living in houses and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, we'll go back homeless, you know, that type of stuff. I remember applying for something recently. And the whole time just in my mind like, I'm not going to get it. Why would I get approved? And then when I got approved, I was really shocked, but I had to catch myself and like, you know what, like that is a part of me not believing I am deserving of this certain thing. It's a part of me not thinking I can get this certain thing or believing I can get more. I had to sit with myself and remind myself I deserve good things. I am deserving of all the beautiful things life have to offer. I'm deserving of this. I'm deserving of that. Another time, I was offered like a partnership. I don't want to say it's like a small brand. I don't want to say it was like a small brand collab, but it was like a partnership. And this is when I first started creating videos way back, I think in 2023. And I talked myself out of it. I told myself all types of shit. Like, why would I do this? Like, you're stupid. Told myself the contract would go left. They'll sue me. That I wasn't smart enough. It wasn't because they were shady, because it was a legitimate business. It was because I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I was deserving to have that. I didn't think I would be capable of handling it. I didn't think big of myself. I talked myself out of it because I'm not used to things going the best way in life. I'm not going to say I'm not used to the best things in life, because life is what you're making, and your inner world reflects in your outer world. But because I was going through so much things internally, that wasn't the best, and thoughts that I had that wasn't the best, and reflected in my outer world when it came to me with that partnership, my inner dialogue to myself was like, you dumb bitch. Why would you do that? Same thing when it came to love. I convinced myself I didn't deserve the kind of love or relationship I wanted, so I settled. I took what was offered. I took what was given to me. Even if it wasn't good enough, I told myself, this is just how it is. But when I trace it back, it always leads to my childhood, moments where I didn't feel enough, where my family struggled. People pleasing became my identity, and survival mode became my default. Every time I do shadow work, I can remember the exact moment where a pattern started or a trauma point in my life was created. Even now, I carry it like a backpack. It shows up in my choices, my relationships, my self-talk. And I won't lie, I still get triggered sometimes. I get triggered a lot because I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I'm leaving survival mode and I'm unlearning so many patterns where it's hard. It's very hard because I'm so used to doing one thing. One thing was so normal for me for majority of my life, and now that I'm undoing it, it's a lot. And sometimes I get triggered. Now, I am aware of a lot of the choices I make, and that awareness to me is everything. Like, one thing about myself, I know I have a big personality. For a long time, I told myself I was introverted, or was it extroverted? I don't fucking know. Introverted, and I was just quiet and very to myself, but that was never the case. I was just not believing that I could be more. But now that I'm believing in myself, my personality is big, not in a abrasive way or a obnoxious, weird way, but we're gonna have a good time hanging out with me. Though my cutoff time is 7 p.m. I like to go home. I like to get in my bed, watch me a good true crime documentary, watch a good Bigfoot show, and then I'll be done for the night. I don't know why this planet's so close to me. I used to be afraid of using my voice, and now I'm not afraid of using my voice. I'm not afraid to take up space. But for a long time, I walk into rooms and second guess myself. Maybe I need to dim my light. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe I'm being too much. But now I remind myself, if I have to shrink, I don't need to be in that room. If I have to be less of myself, I don't need to be around those people. And if you saw yourself in everything I just said, take a deep breath. This isn't something to be ashamed of. You're not broken. Your body, your spirit, your heart, they've been protecting you in the best way they know how. But protection is not peace. And survival is definitely not living at no given point in time. Let's get into the questions I hear all the time. Is shadow work dangerous? Because shadow work is the base of my brand of just shadow work prompts, detailing. I always hear, is shadow work dangerous, and is it demonic? Let me say this plainly. People hear the word shadow and they flinch. They think demonic things, demonic forces, demons, darkness, evil. But the shadow isn't some hellish creature in the corner. It's the version of you that wasn't allowed to exist, the part of you had to hide to survive. It is the anger you swallowed, the joy you muted, the truth you denied to stay safe, stay loved, and stay good. Shadow work isn't playing with darkness. It's about turning on your light. It's not about summoning demons. It's about rescuing the self, your version of you that you buried alive. The shadow isn't the enemy. It is the wounded child, the silenced voice, the rage that it was never enough to scream. And if we don't face it, it leaks out in our choices, our relationships, in our silence, in the things that we don't say. But shadow work, in my opinion, is not dangerous. What I will say is that shadow work rips the band-aid off of things you've been let fester under it for so long. And some people can't take what is under that band-aid, and it's their traumas, it's what they've buried for years. And some people are okay with it. Some people are fine with not ripping that band-aid off. They are okay with leaving things how it is, festering, bleeding under a band-aid, and that is fine. I don't try to force healing on anyone. I feel like in life, in this lifetime, everyone may not get the chance to heal or overcome. Sometimes people are here just to experience, to learn, to go through things, to learn lessons. But like I said, when I prayed over my brand becoming Herrss, I pray that God brings me the right people that are in alignment with what I'm saying or what I'm doing. But I don't know what to call it. Maybe spiritual confusion, maybe fear dressed up like faith. But I've been seeing people say, I'll just let God heal me. They think that's safer, easier, and holier. And listen, I love God down like this. Like, God is the biggest thing in my journey now, because you really gotta trust the process. Even if you're not seeing it, you have to see, like, just trust that God is leading you in the right place. God is in me, I am in him. We are not separate. He is my source, my center, my everything. But you don't just wake up one day and poof, 100 years of generational trauma disappears. That's not healing, that's a fantasy. God is not a magician, he's a partner. He meets you halfway, but only if you start walking. Shadow work, it is not demonic, it's divine. It is the place where you meet God in the mess, not just on the mountaintop. You want freedom, God says, show me your honesty, show me your discipline, show me your alignment, because God doesn't just hear your words. He watches how you move. You can't pray for peace and keep choosing chaos. That's not how it works. You can't ask for transformation and keep hiding from the truth. You don't get to ask for wholeness and reject the parts of yourself you don't like. That's not how freedom works. That's not how healing works. So no, shadow work isn't dangerous. What is dangerous is ignoring the parts of you that are begging to be seen. It's thinking God will do the healing all for you while you sit still and stay stuck and do nothing. You are co-creating your life with God. But faith without embodiment, that is not faith. Faith is becoming. So, shadow work is an invitation to sit with a version of you had to figure out too early, who got hurt and hid it, who settled because they didn't know they could ask for more, they can be more, they can do more. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about reclaiming who you are. Piece by piece, pattern by pattern, truth by truth. Here's your shadow work prompt for this week. Where have I been settling for what's familiar instead of what I truly want? ? Why the fuck would I just do that? And what does that reveal about what I believe I deserve? Let that question stretch you. Sit with it. You don't have to answer it all right away. Write it down. Look at it. Reflect on it. Let it sink in. And then give yourself the best answer. Make sure that you're reflecting. Even if it makes you cry, you gotta cry with it. You have to sit with it, but be honest, be raw. And when it feels heavy, remind yourself, this is what becoming looks like. It's not perfect, but it's real. Not instant, but intentional. You're not behind, you are becoming. And I'll be right here with you every step, every truth, every time you choose you. Becoming Herrss will be right here. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I will have a PDF shadow work prompt on my website, because sometimes they be flagging that shit in here in my little comment section. So make sure you go check it out on my website. They are all free, because I believe healing, you should not be trying to charge people for the basics, just in general.